So what would it really take to shut down the world's most critical and probably most dangerous maritime choke point? Today we're going to dig into the anatomy of a naval blockade and just how immense the military challenge of locking down the Strait of Hormuz actually is.
Okay, this one number. This is why everything we're about to talk about matters so much. A staggering 20% of the world's entire oil supply flows right through the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking every single day. So you can see how any disruption here, it doesn't just make ripples, it sends a massive economic tsunami across the entire globe.
And for any navy, the geography here is, well, it's a total nightmare. At its narrowest, we're talking about a channel just 21 miles wide. And that Iranian coastline you see, it's all mountains, which is absolutely perfect for hiding things like mobile missile launchers. This is not the open ocean. This is a tight, incredibly dangerous stage with zero room for error.
All right, so to really understand how this would all play out, we're going to break down the operation into 5 critical phases. First up, establishing the line. Then, we'll tackle the silent threat lurking underwater. After that, countering those surface swarm attacks. And then, we'll flip the script and look at Iran's powerful home field advantage. And finally, we'll weigh the incredible risks of this high-stakes endgame.
Okay, so, Phase 1. It's all about establishing a front line. In a space this dangerous and this confined, how does the U.S. military project power without, exposing its most valuable ships?
So the first move isn't what you might expect. You don't just send in a giant aircraft carrier. It's just too big, it's too valuable, and frankly too vulnerable to target in these tight quarters. Instead, the Navy unleashes what you could call a wolf pack of 4 to 6 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. They set up this layered patrol box, creating an invisible radar dome where literally nothing moves, on the sea or in the air, without being instantly detected.
Right, but that radar dome, that only covers the surface and the sky. This whole conflict has a hidden underwater dimension. Iran has submarines. So, while the destroyers are watching from above, how do you fight the battle that's happening below the waves? Well, the answer is the Virginia-class attack submarine. This thing is the quiet hunter. It's patrolling silently hundreds of feet below the surface, and its whole mission is to find and neutralize Iran's submarines before they can ever become a threat, whether that's by laying mines or trying to ambush that picket line of destroyers.
So, with the perimeter set, Phase 2 begins. Because the most dangerous threat here isn't always some high-tech missile. It's often something much simpler, much cheaper, but incredibly lethal: the sea mine.
Now, clearing these hidden killers is a super painstaking process. You can't just rush in. The Navy follows this strict 5-step protocol for every single potential threat. You have to detect it, then localize its exact position, classify what it is, identify it for sure as a mine, and only then can you finally neutralize it. One mistake anywhere in that chain could be absolutely catastrophic.
And this is where the strategy gets really brilliant. You never send sailors into the minefield. That whole philosophy is shifted. Instead of a traditional minesweeper, the Navy uses what's essentially a robotic mothership. It stays safely outside the danger zone and sends in a whole team of drones to do the dirty work.
This is what modern minesweeping looks like in action. You've got the literal combat ship acting as the mothership. From its safe spot, it coordinates this team of robots. There's an unmanned boat on the surface towing a sonar, a Seahawk helicopter scanning from the air, and this underwater drone called the knife fish that hunts for mines buried on the seabed. And the final piece is just genius. Another drone actually mimics the sound and magnetic signature of a huge warship, tricking the mines into blowing up on a target that isn't even there.
But what happens when the threat isn't hidden and silent, but loud, fast, and coming right at you? What happens when Iran unleashes its signature threat? Dozens of these fast-moving Mosquito attack boats, all swarming a single warship.
The answer is a pretty devastating 1-2 punch from the air. From up high, you have the A-10 Warthog, using its massive 30mm cannon to just tear boats to shreds and create the psychological wall of fire. But then you have the hunters. Down low, inside what they call the threat envelope, are the AH-64 Apache helicopters. And they are just ruthless, chasing down individual boats with precision Hellfire missiles and their own guns, basically clearing the shipping lanes one target at a time.
So this U.S. plan sounds pretty formidable, right? But it would be a huge mistake to underestimate the opponent here. Iran has a powerful home field advantage, and they have basically turned the entire strait into a fortress. They don't just have a coastline. They've got this triad of fortified island outposts.
Think of Larik Island as the knife at the throat, staging those fast attack boats right on top of the shipping lanes. Then you have Kesh, which is the sledgehammer, hiding heavy anti-ship missiles in underground bunkers. And finally, Abu Musa, which acts as the forward outpost, extending their radar and their threat bubble deep out into the Gulf.
And their tactics? They're designed for maximum chaos. They are not going to fight a conventional naval battle. Instead, they'll swarm a single ship from all directions at once, trying to blind it by hitting the bridge, and disable it by hitting the engine. They'll mix in unmanned suicide drone boats, and they might even try to drop mines right in a ship's path, all while firing anti-ship missiles from mobile launchers that are designed to shoot and then scoot right back into hiding.
And all of this leads us to the endgame. Because even if every single tactic works perfectly, a blockade is never a clean victory. This is the point where all that tactical success collides head-on with enormous strategic risk.
The risks here really show the true cost of an operation like this. The single biggest factor, at 40%, is the geography itself. Those tight quarters will always favor the defender. Then, of course, you have the certainty of an Iranian response, the massive economic shockwave from spiking oil prices, and the simple fact that an operation this huge is incredibly difficult to sustain over time.
With so many different threats coming from so many directions, the ultimate U.S. strategy has to rely on this one principle. The best defense is a good offense. The absolute safest way to deal with a missile or a swarm boat is to destroy it before it ever even gets a chance to launch. And that means a constant blanket of surveillance, ready to strike the very moment a launcher rolls out of a bunker or a boat gets loaded up at port.
And you know, that really is the central conflict here. The U.S. brings absolutely overwhelming technology to the fight. We're talking robotics, stealth submarines, advanced air power. But Iran leverages an unchangeable and incredibly powerful asset: its terrain. It's a classic strategic contest that leaves us with this critical question. In a battle of advanced technology versus entrenched geography, who truly holds the lasting advantage?